Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you are having a wonderful Tuesday. Dr. Dy'Mire Jones here, physical therapist and fitness coach, and today we'll be talking about decreasing pain during the overhead squat position. And the reason why I kind of address it that way is because oftentimes when we see what athletes, they're strong. They're so with some of the clients that I see, they're strong. When we see with some of the patients, they're strong. Matter of fact, when I see with everybody, they're strong enough to get the position overhead, but for some reason it's painful whenever they do it. And I've been treating some people for a while now that had this issue, and they're really starting to come around, and I want to talk about that. And I did a seminar yesterday on shoulder health, and today I'm able to coach athletes through workouts that includes overhead squats, so it all kind of tie in. So I really wanted to address that and why you may feel that way during your overhead squats. Look at positioning, some things that you can try to decrease that pain, and then hopefully over time you're able to build that tolerance back up and really hit those PRs that we want to. Okay, so cool. Let's talk about the overhead squat and what it's good for, and then why we need it and why we can't just throw it away, right? So our overhead squat position is actually used to build strength, endurance, and tolerance to our squat snatch. So, you're thinking, well, what about power snatch? What about hang power snatch? What about hang snatches? Yeah, they all kind of have to do with that, but at that end of that snatch, that squat snatch position, where you're at all the way down, when your hips are below your knee crease, whenever your shoulders is pressed up, pulled apart, and then on the bar, all that is going to allow you to increase your squat snatch position, because it's the same ending position with the overhead squat position as it is for that squat snatch. You put them together, they're the same thing. So ultimately, building strength through that, building tolerance through that is going to allow that to get stronger. It's going to help you get on the bar quicker, and also is going to allow for you to just be able to bounce out of that bottom position, and then be able to hold that weight at the top as well. So kind of setting the framework there, and why it's so important, and why if you get positioning right, you are off to the races, particularly with the overhead squat, and particularly with the snatch squat position. Cool. So let's talk about the position real quick. I'll demo it out, and then basically we'll talk about how some things that I see that are faults, and then how we can kind of cue those, coach those, and actually try them ourselves, especially if we're dealing with some shoulder pain with them. Cool. So squat snatch position, or overhead snatch position, or overhead position is going to include us going down overhead as it sounds into a full blown squat. Okay, let me just pull this back some. So I'll give myself some more room so you all can see me. Nice. So what we'll have here for our overhead snatch position, again, is bar over here, bar right there. Hopefully our stomach is pressed down, our shoulders are aligned with our ear, and that's going to allow, when we go down, for us to keep that position that entire time. That's why I like most, our maximum congruency. I call it the triple stack position, although it's 4 things that I count. I call it triple stack position, so people can visually see that, right? Their shoulder is, their shoulders aligned with their hips, that's aligned with their knees, that's aligned with their ankles, and then whenever they go down, they basically just try to keep that same plane there, right? Just try to keep them all together. Obviously, the hips are going back, the knees are going slightly forward, the ankles are staying the same, but visually you can see that, at least at the starting position, and then you'll just go down that way. Cool. What I see for some athletes is, as long as you're able to get right here at 180 degrees, you have enough mobility, and that's something that I'm really satisfied with. Outside of like pull-ups, if you're a CrossFit athlete, if you're a Spartan race athlete, maybe with the pulls this way, maybe a little bit past 180, like unless you're a gymnast, things like that. There are some nuances there. Obviously, runners have to worry about their shoulders. There are some nuances there, but for the most part, as long as you're able to get your shoulder from here to here, we're all good to go. So don't worry about mobility. oftentimes what we see with athletes is that it's sometimes their motor control, right? You're stronger. I mean, you know what your strength is. You know what, you're able to stabilize the position at the top. But when you go down, you lose that ability to keep that structure there, to stay externally rotated, to push up on that bar, to pull the bar apart. And thus that's affecting your positioning at the bottom. You kind of end up in a wonky position or something that may feel natural. You'd be surprised how many people have been compensating for so many years. So it feels natural, motor control wise, structural technique wise, is not necessarily as optimal as it needs to be, and it causes some sort of pain. So cool. So what does that look like? Okay. So remember we talked about our triple stack position being here, right? To where if I'm at the bottom of my squat, I'm just like this. The bar is aligned with my ear. I'm pressing up on my, I'm pulling apart. What I see for some athletes, very rarely though, is something like this where the bar is out in front. But most of the time it's back here, right? It's back here, and instead of their shoulders being externally rotated, and then if I was to show you here, let's say this is this is internally rotated, this is externally rotated, they're more or less right here, and what that looks like is their armpits are facing down, okay? So the thing that I like to cue oftentimes is not only push the bar up and pull it apart, but really try to press your armpit up, and let's just stay there. Let's just kind of feel what that, feel what that is, okay? So you say on, off, on, off, on, off, and then like we'll do it with a PVC pipe first, and then try it with some weight, so you can come back. Oh, it feels heavy here. Oh, light here, and it doesn't hurt. Heavy here, heavy, heavy, kind of pinching, kind of feel weird. All right, now it doesn't. What that does is, again, allow for you to be the most stable and obviously your strongest position, but what it does, it allows you to work on that motor control. So basically what I'll do is a 3-step process, which is going to be a quarter squat, parallel, and then full squat, looking at each one of those and kind of checking off and say, motor control, motor control, motor control. Obviously, strength is something we all need to work on. Stabilize, stabilize, stabilize. And then if the structures are able to move like they want to, aka mobilization, okay? So let's say we come here and I just have them do a quarter squat first. So come down here about half, there you go, and then pop back up. I'll check that out. Again, cueing that external rotation, cueing that armpit forward, pressed up on the bar. Once we have that, then after that, we'll just move on to the full squat. I'm sorry, not full squat, but basically the parallel squat. So that we're going down the parallel. We're keeping that position, keep it, hold it. Bam, we'll do that 5 to 6 times, checking it again, and then everyone will graduate to the full blown here. I'm here. I'm staying there, and I'm popping back up. Again, 5 to 6 times, checking off on that. If after we looked at motor control and positioning and all of that, if it still bothers you, there's nothing wrong with saying, let's just for this particular workout, or this particular strength, or this particular kind of WOD, go down and change the apparatus. I talk about all the time, apparatus. What does that really mean? That really means just changing the mode or the device you're using. Let's say barbell overheads bother your athlete, yourself, or your client, or your patient. Cool, that's perfectly fine. We can still work on a lot of things overhead without using a bar. We can use a kettlebell. We can use a dumbbell, right? You can maybe get a, instead of a male bar, that might have, mess with, wrist positioning, you might have to use a female bar, or vice versa. I had an athlete today who was like, with that male bar, it just doesn't feel, with the female bar, who's a female athlete, it just doesn't feel right. Let me change to a male bar, and she did perfectly fine. Then she got 30 plus pounds, right? So it's cool to kind of play around with that. So no one says that it's a death sentence that you can't do these things. You can change your apparatus. You can change the thing that you're using in order for you to bang it out and really get after it. And you can work on strength with those things. So another athlete has nothing to do with the shoulder, but I say, hey, you can get heavy. You can do holds. You can do all kinds of stuff with, a quarter squat. No one says you have to do a full depth squat to get stronger at squat. No one says that. If it's bothering you to go below parallel, you be the best person or the best athlete you can be that's above parallel. You knock it out. You better have the RX of the RX. You better be the plus of the plus, right? You better have the strongest, quarter squat ever. Because again, we can work on these things. These are things that we don't have to necessarily go into full positioning all the time. We can work on them in myriad of ways. So, cool. I just really want to talk about overhead squat position. Obviously, why it's important. Again, it's going to allow us to combine our squat snatch, or basically it's the ending position for our squat snatch. So get stronger with that. Thank you, Antonio, for hopping on, man. Just missed me at the end. Please go back and watch the replay. I think it'd be something valuable for you, and I know you used to crush it with this overhead squat stuff. So cool. If you're watching this on replay, #replay. Let me know if you have any questions, and my call to action, as always, if you have any of those questions, drop them in the comments, or if you want to personally message me, please do so you can hear about that. So cool. Thank you, Antonio, for that, man. Thank you for everybody who watching this. I hope this was valuable to you all, and you all have a good one. Cool.